In the Great Lakes Basin, water is withdrawn for a variety of reasons, from personal and municipal use to agricultural to industrial. One of the largest uses of water locally in Michigan is for energy production, and under that broad umbrella lies natural gas extraction through fracking.
In one day, I believe it was in 2010 or 2011, the state made more in leases for energy companies to explore natural gas and oil production on those lands. They made more in one day than the previous 80 years.
Hydraulic fracturing or fracking is what the oil and gas companies will call a well completion method, where they're actually pumping millions of gallons of water per well for these high volume fracking wells. They pump water, sand, and chemicals down into these oil and gas wells to break up shale, a form of rock, and to release oil and gas that then goes back up the well and that they capture to refine and sell.
I think it's important to note that within Michigan, there's been oil and gas production for decades. A key piece to be clear on, though, is that the type of activity that most people are concerned about now is at a very different scale. So rather than going down in a vertical well 1,000 feet or 2,000 feet, it's going down maybe 10,000 feet and then out horizontally, going out a mile or two.
If you look at, compare it to today's fracking operations, so maybe they were using 50 to 60,000 gallons of water, where in today's operation you can get up to 20 million gallons of water going down a well.
Most people that have looked at this topic say the concern is with the water that comes back up. It's coming from very deep. It's also mixed with materials that are down low there. There's other salts and minerals and sometimes radioactive material. All of that comes back up.
You put 20 million gallons into a well, and let's say somewhere between 5 and 15 million are going to come out of contaminated water. What am I going to do with that contaminated water?
In Michigan, the approach is that is put into a deep injection well, which is the approach that is used for most industrial disposals of water and waste like that. Others, though, raise questions about it because ultimately you're not quite certain where that water is going to end up over the long haul. Will it at some point reach the Great Lakes?
What industry is interested in is ensuring continued access to the water resources for sustainable purposes. So whether it's for withdrawing water for industrial purposes, withdrawing water for thermoelectric power generation, or using water for hydroelectric power generation, or for irrigation and agricultural irrigation. These are all uses of this water resource, and our obligation is, all of us as water users, is to ensure that those uses are sustainable.
Our country needs to have energy, and one of the biggest dangers I think that we have as a nation is that we have been too heavily reliant over the years on foreign sources of energy. Natural gas, I think actually, quite frankly, that's something you're going to see here in the future. One
of the things that I've argued is that contaminating water and removing it from fracking is similar to a diversion. It's like diverting water out of the Great Lakes, right? And so we have to look at whether or not our laws are actually protective enough of our water resources. And in the instances of oil and gas and fracking, I don't think they are.
Currently, fracking operations in Michigan are at a relative standstill due to the low price of natural gas.
It's been more expensive than expected, and there is not the return on the investment with the low price of natural gas right now. Okay. If that would go up significantly in the future or some other major change, that all could change.
Do you foresee that the fracking industry might return and get busy again in Michigan with the sort of climate right now, which is pro oil and gas at this point?
Eventually they'll be back. If we've got oil and gas resources, I'm guessing they're going to be back at some point when the price is right.
This story is part of a larger documentary on water withdrawal in the Great Lakes Basin entitled Tapping the Great Lakes. To watch, visit greatlakesnow.org.